Hello everyone and welcome back to the GameCast podcast. As you can see, I am still the official GameCast champion after defeating James in WWE 2K19.
Nobody!
Get this fucking belt in as many videos as we can. This thing cost me a lot of money. Down you go. So everyone, just to start off the podcast nice and light, what have we been playing?
RuneScape.
Have you been serious right now?
I've actually been deadly serious. RuneScape
It has recently come back
has
up.
a resurgence.
It has-
Old school RuneScape.
It's never going to not go away. Just
mobile RuneScape on the mobile, and then you can just quickly transfer over onto your laptop, and it's just seamless and it's amazing.
How many hours have you put in already?
I don't know. I've only had it about 2 weeks. I'm already like combat level 50 and
Jesus.
How many hours are in 2 weeks? Whatever that amount, that's the amount you put in.
Do the maths, quick.
I get losing. I know it's
24 by 7
It's
is
so
a number.
good.
Yeah, playing Devil May Cry 5 at the moment.
Still?
Yeah, I took a break from it a good while ago. There was like other stuff that I wanted to play, and I just kind of stopped because like if I ever want to play it, I want to play it just by itself. I don't want to get distracted or anything. I want to appreciate it for what it is. So I got back into it now, and I'm flying through it.
The game is so like the gameplay is so like style orientated that you don't want to go in and just like slug it out. As you were saying, you want to make like a really cool combo and all that kind of stuff. You can't do that if you're just burnt out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like you do need to be on. You need to be paying attention to like really style and like swap out the weapons and like see what combos work with which, and it's like you can
Complete opposite of RuneScape, where you're just
Just
sitting there,
slogging it out.
click on the grind.
you probably could just button mash, but like just like mash the triangle button and just jump out of the way whenever the attacks come your way. But like that's not the essence of Devil May Cry. So
Like you were playing when I seen you playing it, you were playing somewhat of a boss. He was like a knight in the remember you were going through those vein systems.
yeah,
And you came across a knight, and it looked the boss looked really challenging in itself, and you were still trying to do all these flips and the gunshots and slicing and all that kind of stuff. It looks really challenging.
who was I playing else at the time? There's 3 characters in it.
Neo, is it?
Nero, with
Nero.
the, like
Black.
the short
No,
hair.
the short blonde hair. He has kind of a black, and he has a fake arm.
Yeah, that's Nero.
Nero, yeah. You're
Yeah.
playing as him going through those like channel of veins and stuff.
Yeah, Nero, he has 1 sword and 1 gun, and then he has like a lot of like disposable robotic arms that all do different things. So like you can do cool stuff, like you could be there attacking 2 enemies, and like one guy's about to charge into you from behind, but you can actually press circle to like use a shockwave to blast yourself away. So you could blast yourself away, or you could actually blast yourself back into the guy to knock him back.
Yeah.
And then when you land on your feet and he's on the ground, you can start wailing on him, and then his friends come over and you start taking care of them too. There's all kinds of crazy stuff you can do. I'm playing as Dante now though, so Dante is focused on he gets a lot more weapons, and it's about like doing combos with the weapon you want and then swapping to another one to like get it to work. So like you can uppercut a guy. There's like a weapon that's literally like a motorbike infused with like demonic power, and you use them as 2 big like mace chainsaw things. So you could do a thing like do a crazy combo with the sword, knock the guy into the air, shoot him a few times with your guns while he's in the air, then switch to the chainsaw things and jump up and do this cool thing where you turn around and like uppercut like that. Uppercut the enemy behind you with the chainsaw things.
I thought you were saying you uppercut him from the front like that. I was like, how the fuck does that work?
No, it's like he jumps up, turns around, gets the things, and like hits upwards at the guy behind him like that.
Seems like wasted energy.
But it's about the style.
It's about the style. You should see these characters. They're all like groomed to perfection.
Meanwhile, he has a style point.
It's like there is there's a style.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like a grade system. It's like CB. That's not how you spell. I was going to say CBS.
C B D E E F G.
This is why we make the podcast, because none of us did well in school. That's probably a lie. 2E probably did well.
Z Y X
Nah, I did
T
terrible.
U V.
Alright, we get it. You can spell. Good man. For me, I am playing Control, a game I talked about in the podcast very briefly before.
Really want to play that.
I really, really like the way the gameplay is handled from your player, but it seems like a game that is like a tech demo, where they have your character perfectly polished and all. The environment is fairly good. The enemies are just so generically shit. Like, they're called the Hiss, and they're like these mind-controlled aliens, basically, that take over the bodies of real human beings, and they use them to like attack you, and you have to use your powers to fuck them up. But I'm struggling to get into the game just because I just see like, right, here's another wave of faceless creatures that are just thrown at me just so I can, like, it's cool, like, you rip up a bit of concrete out of the ground and you throw it at these people. And I'm just like, that looks good. It'll look better when they use it in Star Wars, where it was probably really supposed to be used anyway. Like, there was a boss that came into it, and it was the exact same character model as the other creatures running around. And like it's fucking strange. The story is really, really like too ambitious as well. It's like,
in what way?
They're really trying to portray like a what does it all mean kind of atmosphere, like secret FBI headquarters, everything going on.
3 deep 5 me conspiracies.
Yeah, it's just like, come on guys, just feed me a story I can talk. Like I think if I was to count them up, there's like 6 plot lines going on at one time. And everyone is mysterious. Like, there's a mysterious janitor who knows what's going on, but he talks in riddles, and he's obviously Russian. He's like, I'm going on holiday. We need to fix the generator before it blows up. Because he knows there's enemies at the generator, whereas he says, oh, there's just trash around it. And, like, the trash is a metaphor for the aliens and all this kind of stuff. There's a plot going on with your brother who's been abducted because of an attack that happened, like, 18 years ago. There's something in your head. The person who used to be in charge of the FBI headquarters, that he killed himself, and you just assume his role for it doesn't fucking even explain. You just show up and you're like, everyone just goes, you're the new director now. You're just like, all right,
that's convenient.
And like, you have a telekinetic connection to the guy who killed himself somehow, and it has explained itself, but it's just constant that my brain is just going, I'm not getting nothing back here. I'm not getting back for this. I'm struggling to give a shit.
I'm probably going to go into it with like a halo effect over the game, because I love reading stuff from the SCP Foundation. Have any of you heard of that?
No.
It's like a fictional website filled with like thousands of entries about like different anomalous objects and creatures and stuff. So the SCP Foundation is this fictional, like, Men in Black-esque foundation that like tries to secure and contain all these different anomalous things. So like sometimes they're just like weird shit, like there's a bronze sculpture that expands whatever it's put in. So if we put it in this room will keep expanding until it's like miles wide, but from the outside
we
it's
could
still
do
the
with
same
that
side. They get one of them, but from the outside it would look normal, and it goes right up until like there's like a star moving towards our planet that, like, it was moving somewhere else, but then when we looked at it through a telescope, it noticed us looking and came towards us. So the Foundation is like,
what's going on down there?
So the Foundation is like, we don't have a jail cell big enough to. But yeah. So containment is like one of the closest things I can get to like a AAA or AA SCP game. Like, there's been SCP game adaptations, but they're always like low budget indie Unity games where it's just like yeah, here's insert SCP here, run away from it and hide in a locker, you know. So my choices aren't exactly diverse when it comes to SCP games. So Control came along and everyone's like, oh my god, it's the closest thing to a proper SCP game you ever got.
I was looking at its reviews and it got like 80% on, I think it was like IGN or GameSpot, and like, yeah, I can't argue with that, but definitely not getting any higher from me. As I said before, Control's gameplay would be absolutely amazing in a Doctor Strange game. In the exact same kind of, do it the exact same.
Just reskin it and leave it the same.
Exactly, you could reskin it. It would work perfect. It would make far more fucking sense to me than what's going on, because then you could just automatically just like all the bullshit. You can just go, yeah, sure, look, Doctor Strange multiverses. Who the fuck knows what's going on?
I mean, if they make Dead Space out of a Tiger Woods game, they can make a Doctor Strange game out of Control. Literally, they took the skeletons from a Tiger Woods game and used them to model the characters in Dead Space. I'm not gonna buy Control 2 if it comes out, unless there's some serious work done. I don't even know. I haven't even got to the end of it. She could fucking die for all I know. Yeah. Well, like, is the gameplay actually smooth? Like, how does Control?
Oh, he said the thing. Do you know what? Because I'm playing on an Xbox One that has been through some serious use, I don't know. Because the game is very stuttery, can react very badly, but I don't know if that's just because any Xbox One can't handle it, because it's just...
They shoved ray tracing into it, didn't they? That's why the performance is abysmal. Like,
but I
on something that's how many years old now?
Yep.
Like,
6 years old.
Even visually, your character is sometimes out of focus when she runs. like a blur running on the screen. Not like a bad thing. Not like Sonic the Hedgehog just sprinting through.
Yeah.
But like sometimes like the like bits of her head like blends in, like with the rest of the fucking.
Sure, you just weren't wearing your glasses when you were playing.
I always wear my glasses when I'm playing because.
Well, so it's like
Why is the game so blurry?
Like like let's pretend the game camera is like a real camera. It's like it wasn't focused on her properly. It wasn't.
The environment will be fine, but while you're running, it's almost like the game just goes, hang on, you left us back here. And then like when you stop, it like catches back up and then she goes fine again. And then like I was thinking maybe it's my television. I was like, no, it's not my television. It's a 4K television. Like,
is there an in-game option to disable motion blur? Or?
I honest to God haven't even looked because the gameplay itself is a bit challenging at time.
Yeah.
It's very unforgiving. It's like 3 hits death on a boss. 2 hits gone.
I'll have a look then because every little bit helps. Like Spyro had really aggressive motion blur to the point people were complaining of nausea. So when the PC release came out, they took out the option to turn it off.
It's the same with Fallout 3's Field of Vision.
Yeah, that field of view was awful.
Nausea,
I'm trying to think.
Like you're looking through binoculars at all times or something like.
I'm trying to think. Was there another game where it kind of happened as well? Like I've always noticed it more towards the end of a generation. Like, you know, like when PlayStation 3 towards the end, and it was just like a car from the 80s that was just stuttering and farting along, and then you're trying to force it to go. Like it's a shame. Like maybe they could have held off Control until next year, and it would have been like I think if they did hold off till next year, it would have been a perfect game.
Yeah. Like it always happens towards the end of a console's lifespan. Like developers have to squeeze the most out of consoles' power anyway, given the limited resources. But towards the end of the console's life cycle, that's doubly so because you know there have been new developments. Like ray tracing came in. Like there's no way in hell PS4 and Xbox One base models can like deal with that properly. So developers have to take all kinds of shortcuts, and sometimes I imagine the shortcut just isn't there. So they have to just sacrifice the frames, and that's why it stutters so bad.
Like when I started the game initially, you walk through the hallway of this fictional building. I don't even know what it's called. It's called something stupid. Do you know, like in America the way they just name they name like a building like the kitchen.
Oh yeah.
It's like one of those stupid kind of names. And I was just like, oh god, like the house or something like that.
The boiler.
Yeah, like
a prison called the boiler or something like that. Yeah.
But like there's really really interesting concepts to it. Like you walk down this one like I'm imagining it's like a fucking it's in her head this hallway. And the hallways start to shift. It's like a Matrix effect. And I was like, this is really cool. Like, why isn't there more of this in the game instead of there's 50 enemies, shoot one of them and throw a rock at the rest. So maybe we'll see some. Give me Doctor Strange game. Right, that was a long segment. Question 1.
Don't talk so much.
You're allowed to talk. Fuck it. What is your opinion on the recent explosion in popularity with games like Apex Legends, Fortnite, etc., specifically in terms of questionable loot systems? What do you think about the new rise in these sort of battle royale style games? You could argue they're our version of FIFA when we were younger, with Ultimate Team. I know Ultimate Team's still going.
Some of them are too big to fail now. Fortnite is too big to fail. There's no way that's going to fail at any stage. I don't think it's...
They're kind of smart in the way they're doing it though, that every couple of months they're throwing something new.
Apex came out to try defeat Fortnite, but that failed. That's not popular. I mean, when it first came out,
it still has a good
following, but like when it came out at the start of the year, it was like, oh, this is
Apex
the greatest
thing ever.
It's gonna kill Fortnite, which it did for the first month. Like streams on Twitch went down for Fortnite and everything. Like it actually did took a big hit for it, but then like the following month, like it was like, right, we're sick of this. We're going back to Fortnite. So Fortnite's doing something right because it lost its player base and it got it all back.
Do you know what I love? Is that you go off and you learn all these kind of really, really good instant facts. You still can't read a PDF I send you on the questions every time we do this.
You didn't send that.
I sent you this one.
But like even like the loot system, like obviously they have the loot system nailed.
Yeah.
Like that's what it is. You know, Apex came out and they're Fortnite were probably like, right, we're just gonna dial it up a notch on our loot box system.
And the whole chapter 2 thing.
Yeah.
I thought they were on like chapter 20 by now. They're on seasons. They're doing seasons and chapters now. I'm confused.
You know, in terms of these games, I've just never cared less. To be honest, like they're just really not my kind of thing at all. I can see how they would have taken off though. They're very like streaming has never been bigger. They're very stream friendly.
Yeah.
They're very like. I don't want to say people are losing their attention spans.
Yes,
But
that's exactly what I'm thinking.
There's just so much content out there that if it's in any way long or drawn out, attention instantly cuts out and instantly seeks a new hit on something else. So for something that's like fast, explosive, entertaining, jump in, jump out, these kind of games I can easily see why they've taken off in popularity, but they're just not for me. I'm still stuck in like early 2000s arena shooters like Unreal Tournament and Quake and stuff. There's been actually still salty about this in regards to Fortnite. There was going to be a new Unreal Tournament game, but Epic pulled all the staff from it to work on Fortnite. So if Epic gets no, I'm not going to bomb Epic.
To be fair, no, they're not doing anything wrong, because Fortnite seems to be one of the better kind of examples of these, because at least the game is constantly evolving and changing. Like when it first came out, it wasn't the best game alive, whereas now they've kind of improved graphics, they've improved gameplay, they've added a bit more depth to the story. There's actually like almost a lore system now, whereas let's say PUBG, fuck off. Like
that had a steep learning curve when it first came out.
Yeah, like I love PUBG. Like I really, really enjoy it, because let's say if me and the guys just log on, we play, we genuinely have like a really great time. But if I was to play single player, fuck that, it's too hard. It's really, really hard. I tried playing it on PC here last week with James. The recording didn't go great because someone forgot to press the button. Me,
Jamie,
and your PC and your internet was crap.
My internet wasn't crap. My internet's good. Anyway,
it doesn't explain how he lagged out under the bridge and you killed your whole team in the car.
Yeah,
basically, yeah.
I didn't kill everyone.
He drove into the river with a car full of people. His teammates.
That makes it sound like I deliberately like fucked up, or I'm so shit. The thing glitched through the bridge.
Yeah.
I was driving over the bridge. I was on my side of the road.
Someone from afar was like, "Oh, look at these gobshites," and sniped a whole lot of them.
This is why I stick to single player games.
One of the guys drowned. Anyway,
the river captain.
Yeah, he wasn't sniped.
He crawls out onto the bank coughing up like water, and you're just like, no witnesses.
Trust me, the game isn't that advanced that could even happen. Like games like that they're fine as long as you can pick up the controller, put it down after you're done playing with your friends. When it comes to the point where, look, I'm gonna switch aside. When it comes to the point where, let's say me and my brother, when we played Ultimate Team when we were younger, we had to have the best team. We had to have the best players. Pumping, I easily could say over €1,000 into just one FIFA game. FIFA goes out a day towards the end of the year, every year.
Yeah.
I spent €1,000 that year on nothing. It doesn't carry, it doesn't save, waste of time. Nowadays, it's a bit better that when you spend money on these things, it's just cosmetic. It's not going to improve the gameplay. And they don't lie to you that way. But
Activision.
Yes.
Call of Duty.
Or let's say the scandal with Battlefront 2, where basically pay to have decent heroes and villains, but they removed that and they've tried to fix it as much as they can.
Too late by now.
It's a bit too late. The reputation is completely damaged. The player base is basically consistent of guys who's played it from the start. If you were to join now, you're just fucked, because whoever you get matched with is going to be unbelievable. So I'd like to see a little less of it. I'd rather people focused on games like you were saying, or like how much sooner could we have Last of Us 2 if we didn't spend so much time worrying about fucking Fortnite and Apex Legends. So a bit less of that shite. And mobile games as well. Those fit in as well. Put the ball in the bag, fuck the bag in the river.
Except for RuneScape. RuneScape Mobile can stay.
No.
Yeah, RuneScape Mobile. Here to stay.
I don't like how the hell that survived.
Such a good game. You know, unless you was stood there in a dungeon for 3 hours just looking at your character throwing magic bombs, you don't know.
Have you done that?
You just have to do it.
Why?
Because it's just so good.
RuneScape is such an anomaly for me. It's like it's a game you can get addicted to by not playing it.
Yeah.
Like you just leave your character like level up something, and you can go off and live your life, and your character will still be there like fishing, level up his fishing skill, and you're just you're there. You're getting these little dopamine hits, knowing your character.
I don't know how it's not
fishing,
more
right?
addictive from Fortnite, like because Fortnite has all the loot boxes, and you have your kids and they're addicted to the loot box. RuneScape doesn't have any loot boxes. It's just the most.
It's almost
basic thing.
It almost reminds me how people used to obsess over The Sims.
It's just crazy.
Yes, they're living. You could go fishing in The Sims. And there's a few DLC packages in that one that you can get.
A few deals here, like
Few.
€400 worth.
Yeah, I know. I bought Sims 3 when it came out for a laptop that had no business having that disc inside it. The game cried, "What have you done?" And I used the activation code on that laptop. That thing couldn't run it. I'd say it couldn't even run RuneScape. And yeah, so we all agree that those kind of games can just like take the back seat.
Do you know, I just kind of miss
Like,
like
love them or hate them.
it's just they're overstimulating for me. There's just constant barrage of content. There's 1,000,001 skins and maps and like just stuff like that. But like, is that still going?
Yeah.
But nothing feels special in it because of that. Like you know the way like you could play a game on PS2, like let's say a fighting game or a first-person shooter or something, and you unlock like a secret character skin. That's like you know, an award thing. Like you actually felt cool for unlocking this super secret skin, but now you can just kind of buy it. Nothing feels special, or even just in terms of the mechanics themselves. Like we used to play, even with my friend, we used to play Area 51 on PS2, and there was a multiplayer mode for that. One of the maps had this big pool of radioactive waste in the middle. Now there was no proper swimming mechanics in the game, but if you jump into the waste, your character kind of like bobs up and down, and it kills you pretty fast. But there's actually a portal, and if you can get to the portal in time, it'll move you back to the surface. So we used to do a competition where we both like get full health, jump into the pool and see who could kill each other in the pool before the other died, and then get to the portal and get out. But
Did you win?
A few times, yeah.
Yeah, good man.
But like, there just doesn't seem to be stuff like that in games nowadays. If you get me.
Like do you remember the when Tomb Raider got its remake? Basically, I really recently, my little brother, who's only about Jesus Christ, I don't know his age. He's just about 10. He's plays all this Fortnite and all that kind of stuff. Like I've downloaded him, I played him. I just went, not for me, grand. And he plays him religiously, and he's on to his friends and all. And he gets like he'll sit up in the room playing this for ages, and I'm just like, you're getting nowhere playing that. Like there's no end game to that game. There's no unlockables. There's no nothing. It's just a stat. You're only getting stats, and you're not good at it. You're dying all the time. If you're watching this, Jack, I'm sorry, you're shite at video games. So I bought him the remake of the Tomb Raider because I was like, good enough story, good gameplay. He'll enjoy it. Has kind of an Uncharted feel for him. He played it because he met like the boss at the start of the game. He was just like, nah, I'm not really interested in this, because he was like, I don't really want to pay attention. I was like, for fuck's sake. And that was exactly it. I don't want to pay attention.
I would say it's like a peer pressure thing nearly. Like it's like, you know, the kind of young lads that play games like Fortnite or FIFA or Call of Duty or whatever, like they're kind of playing what all the other lads play. Yeah. I would even hazard a guess and say that if those games didn't exist, if those really big ones didn't exist, and there was only more sort of serious story driven titles, that these lads wouldn't actually be into gaming at all. They would just kind of stick with sports or other hobbies, you know.
Look,
are there other hobbies?
I believe the soccer is the thing.
The soccer.
Yeah, the soccer. I remember when you were younger, it used to be like a really cool conversation to have someone like, well, what games do you play? And you'd say the likes of Mass Effect, I play Doom, I play, and I'd say, oh, like I kind of play Prince of Persia, I play da-da-da, and then you'd be like, oh, they made the same game, blah blah blah. I know they didn't make the same games, but just for an example.
Yeah.
Now it's what do you play? Fortnite. Like it's just fucking, it's like just blank faces just playing the same thing. Whereas before you used to mix it up, you used to have great conversations, suggesting new games, stories. Oh, did you get to that part in that game? Oh yeah, it was class. Whereas now it's, oh, did you build a house in Fortnite? Like, you know, because like, I think they're really missing out on that kind of aspect of gaming. And yeah, we're moving on. Question 2. Who is your favourite video game antagonist?
Favorite video
That
game
means bad guy.
Yeah, I know what antagonist means.
I didn't know it for you. Sorry about that, guys. The camera cut out, but basically just, we didn't miss too much kind of talk. But you basically just said that
Fortnite's crap.
Fortnite and all those kind of games.
Thanks for coming to my
eat
TED
shit.
Talk.
Basically, we just said that kids are missing out. Not kids, other people are missing out on some really good games by focusing all their time on these games that are basically just gambling addictions.
Time sinks, massive time sinks. Yeah.
Anyway, look, we're going to move on because we spent a serious amount of time on that question. We almost ran out of footage. Question 2. What is your favourite video game antagonist? I don't think we even answered it, did we?
No, we just started.
You started last time. You go ahead.
Yeah, it's between Dr. Nefarious from Ratchet and Clank or Virgil from the Devil May Cry series. Dr. Nefarious, for the simple reason that he's just so ridiculously dastardly and evil and over the top. His voice, his laugh, his mannerisms are all hilarious to me. There was even a part in one of the later games where he actually turns good. He like turns his life around. He like goes to rehab and everything to stop being so evil. And then he goes to a planet to go on just a nice peaceful pilgrimage and a hike. And on that planet, he learns about a super weapon, and in a nanosecond goes back to being a villain.
That's the robot guy, isn't it?
Yeah,
He was. I loved him.
He's just so funny. Like, just that's why he's my favorite, because he's just so ridiculously evil, and he will never get better. Like, on a more serious note, though, Virgil from Devil May Cry, I think he's a fantastic antagonist because he's just such a great foil to Dante, the main character. Dante is really like happy-go-lucky and whimsical in the way he behaves. Virgil is like super serious and stern about everything he does. Dante is just kind of like coasting through life and like barely keeping his business afloat, just focused on pizza and girls really. And Virgil is like,
That sounds fantastic.
Virgil is on this die-hard mission to like achieve the kind of power that their father had, which was the legendary demon knight Sparda, who sealed the underworld away in order to protect the human world. Then he settled down with a human lady and had two half-demon sons with him, Virgil and Dante. Dante wants to embrace his strength by embracing like the human half of him. You know, like he cries multiple times in the series when shit goes down, showing that he's not a true evil demon, you know, hence the title Devil May Cry. Virgil wants to embrace his demon half and kind of get rid of his human tendencies, you know. But even though they hate each other and they've been battling it out for ages, Virgil still very much like loves Dante, going by the events at the end of Devil May Cry 3, which I won't spoil. But even his colour palette, like Dante's like all in red, Virgil's like all in blue. Dante uses guns and like this big hefty sword. Virgil uses like just a katana and like magic knives that he summons in the air because he thinks guns aren't warriors' weapons. He's just such a perfect foil and opposite to the hero, and I think those are the best kind of villains.
My pick is exactly along that. A villain who is the complete opposite to the protagonist, the Joker from the Arkham series. In Asylum, he's good. In City, he's amazing. Then, when they did the prequel, Arkham Origins, Troy Baker did a really good job introducing the character to the series. But it's been released a good couple of years, so I suppose I can go ahead with it. The scene when, after you've gone through everything, you've battled all his minions and his bosses, the Joker is slowly dying, and Batman has the vial that could save his life, drops it, breaks. The Joker is hysterical, no pun. No, and he's like, Batman says, "Do you want to know the funny thing? Even after everything you've done, I still would have saved you." And the Joker goes, "That is kind of funny." And then like, he dies with like a smile, and I was just like, this is just the perfect way for them to kill off the Joker. And then they brought him back for a night. Well, to be fair, they did it fairly okay. That was just in his psyche, but I just thought like if the series was to end on Arkham City, I would have just thought masterpiece.
What was the people have drawn parallels between Batman and the Joker. What are those parallels exactly? Like, how are they similar, even though they're
okay? So I could give you a few examples where they've kind of like been compared. The main one being that, let's say the moment when Martha and Thomas Wayne were killed, Bruce in that instance had a choice. He could let it define him in a bad way or become Batman. So in a way, the Joker is his parallel of where he could have been in life if he went really high there. It's where he could have been in life if he didn't become Batman. Okay. So when Batman sees Joker, he sees the constant threat of what he can become if he succumbs to all the mental damage done to him over the years. If you watch, you can watch it now actually, yeah. If you watch The Killing Joke, which is the DC animated film, read the comic, a bit better. The whole thing is about, basically from start to finish, Joker is trying to bring everybody down to his level, to break everyone. So he does this by having Gordon go through a merry-go-round in a carnival and sees pictures of his naked daughter that Joker had just shot in the spine and paralysed.
Yeah, I remember that actually.
And then at the end, he forces him to watch them all blown up and all. And at the end, he's like, "Are you broken yet?" And he's like, "No." And the Joker gets angry over this because he's like, "He didn't break, but I broke." Because it's revealed that the Joker broke before he became the Joker when he was a failed comedian and his wife was pregnant and she died, and the whole falling into the acid bath, all that kind of thing stayed the same. So he's trying to justify him becoming the Joker. And the whole way through it, Batman is trying to warn Joker, please stop, we can fix this, please stop. And that's the parallel again, that Bruce wants someone there to stop him should he ever go too far. In the end of the novel, the Joker has been foiled by Batman. They're standing together. The Joker pulls a gun and it shoots out, but it's a fake gun, and he just goes, "Oh, I'm done again." And Batman gives him the whole speech, "It's not too late, we can get you help." And the Joker goes, no, it's too late for that, I'm sorry." And that's the moment where it clicks for Batman. The Joker tells him a really bad joke then, right? And the Joker goes, "Oh, forgive me." He starts laughing. Bruce starts laughing then. They both start getting hysterical, laughing like mad. In the next panel, Batman puts his arm on Joker's shoulder. In the next panel, they're both gone. And it's just the scene. So a lot of people have kind of taken into account that from what we've seen, Batman, it could have done a number of things, but it's really, really highly theorized that when he put his hand on his shoulder, that was him killing Joker because he realized there's no way back for someone like this. Therefore, Batman broke. So it kind of started the cycle all over again. So that's the parallel. Batman is always afraid that he could become the Joker. It's the yin to his yang kind of a thing. That was a really long drawn out explanation, but like there's loads of more explanations of why he doesn't like. Like if you look at all the Batman villains, they're all people who have psychological damage. Like every comic book hero, their villains are always based on what they don't want to be. Yeah. James?
Yeah, I'll just keep it short and sweet anyway. 2 from one series, Gladys and Wheatley.
Good choice, actually. Yeah, they're fantastic.
From Portal.
They're great.
I would say Gladys more.
Gladys? Yeah. I just really enjoyed like
Portal
the
2
whimsicalness of the game, and Gladys doing all these kind of serious things, but it's all just
the voice acting of Gladys in the second one is brilliant.
And then just going around with Gladys as a potato being powered on her hand, and then Wheatley's the bad guy because he just can't hack all the power that he's just after taking in from you destroying.
He gets power drunk.
Yeah, he just gets power drunk, and it just switches around. So he becomes the bad guy, and Gladys is kind of somewhat good, I guess. So
yeah, I remember she was like, I remember all these memories. Yeah, and she's like, I got rid of all those memories. But even like Steve Merchant was such a good choice for Wheatley. What I found lacking with Portal 1 is that you're looking at the main game. It's really good to go through and all, but Portal 2 has such like really good background elements to it, like the various posters of Cave Johnson, and you can listen to like it's just really, really nice when you walk around the room and you can see all these like different things and all, whereas Portal 1 is kind of limited in that regard.
Definitely, I highly agree with that. Who was the guy who voiced Cave Johnson?
Oh, it was J. Jonah Jameson in Spider-Man.
What's his name?
I know his name. Fuck. James, keep talking while we're thinking.
I don't know. I was going to say one more as well from a different series, my all-time favourite series, Metal Gear. A bad guy, but it's at the same time a hero at the end, but is pretty much the main bad guy throughout the whole thing is Big Boss in Metal Gear Solid 3. When she kind of flips on the bridge.
Boss?
Yeah. Just Boss, yeah.
Fucking hell, man. I thought you were going to... I was like, this man forget names?
Yeah. When she's just on the bridge and she flips and suddenly becomes the bad guy.
J.K. Simmons!
That's the one. Boss. She's like Snake's mentor or something.
Yeah, she's like his mentor.
The mother of all special.
Do you want to just explain to him? Because I've talked a lot this video.
No, please, no, don't. No. Metal Gear Solid, no.
No, I won't go into it. It just takes too long, because he looks up to her as, the greatest soldier that ever lived, and nearly as a lover, almost, kind of.
Yeah. No, it's more mother-son. I wouldn't say
weird.
Lover.
Kind of.
Incest.
Mammy issues kind of stuff.
Basically, she transfers over, and he's really confused as to why, and then in the end, it's revealed that she did it for them.
The greater good.
Yeah. So, question 3. What is your guilty pleasure game that is universally hated, but you like?
I'm gonna go with Haze on PS3.
The game where they like have to have nectar or something.
Yeah. Honestly, it's pretty bad. Like it's very
so
yeah.
bad.
The
It's so
graphics
terrible.
the graphics are terrible. The combat isn't exactly like intuitive. The aiming's kind of crap. But I ended up sticking with it because I went through this phase of like wanting to play every PS3 exclusive. So I just wanted to power through Haze just to see if I could. Like, I was in this phase where like I wanted to appreciate the good things about games rather than like the terrible things.
Yeah, we're being negative today.
You're negative Nancy's. But Haze, like I actually really enjoyed it. Like I played it enough that I got into it and got used to the crappy controls and stuff. So I was like gunning guys down left, right, and center. And I like at one part I paused it and I was like, I'm actually having fun. I'm actually really enjoying
Did
this.
you do the thing where you pull it back and you're like, it is a ball of shite, but
Yeah, but it's an enjoyable ball of shite.
So bad it's good.
do you know when they say like don't judge a book by its cover?
Yeah.
With Haze, it's the opposite. The cover is the best thing about it.
The only good thing about it.
Cool helmet.
It's like, and it's from Free Radical as well. So I was like, we lost time splitters for this. But I ended up sticking with it, and there was like one part where a resistance fighter is giving like a cool speech to everyone against the corporation mantle. I did like you stop being a mantle troop at this point and you become a resistance fighter, so you stop using like the combat drug nectar and instead you get the ability to play dead. But like the guy actually gives a really inspirational speech. Like I remember listening to the voice acting and the music, I was like, damn, this speech belongs in a better game. Like it's really out of place, you know. But yeah, I ended up really enjoyed it, so total guilty pleasure.
Assassin's Creed Unity. That was a game that came out and it was just a buggy nightmare and everybody hated it and they couldn't look past it, all the bugs that were in it, because everyone was like, screw this, I'm not playing.
Was that the one where the guy had like teeth and eyes?
Yes.
Yeah. It's one that's set in Paris, which is such a, beyond all that, it's a great looking game, great story, and they released those are kind of fun new DLC, free DLC to make up for the crap release.
Shitfest.
The shitfest it was at the start, but it's actually fantastic.
I got
loads of people hated it.
I got it for €2 on Xbox One. I couldn't fault it for that.
Yeah, it's really good.
Like I got it relatively recently, and obviously all that has been fixed since.
Yeah.
And it's grand.
Yeah.
It's grand. They focus a bit too much on the multiplayer for me though.
Yeah.
But it was a really nice natural evolution to the Assassin's Creed gameplay. Like, you know the way like the parkour.
Yeah.
After a while, it became very like systematical. Like you can only jump in a certain direction. You can only jump to the side. You can jump to the side. Like whereas Unity felt more free roaming with your free parkour. So it was nice. What's a guilty pleasure for me in gaming? This one now takes the piss. When I had my PS3, there were so many games for the PS3 you could just go nuts and pick up anything, and they were making anything. The Walking Dead Survival Instincts.
Oh, I never played it, but I heard terrible things about it. That's not like the crossbow and you play as Norman Reedus.
Don't use the crossbow because it's shit. You play as Norman Reedus. You don't actually play as Norman Reedus. You're just his eyes. You don't even get a character model to look at. Well, you do during cutscenes, very small cutscenes, but it's like a really short game as well. And The Walking Dead was starting to become huge. I was a huge fan of The Walking Dead. I saw this on the shelf. I was like, €50. There you go. Picked it up, brought it home, put it on. I went, oh no. And I got through it. Not. And the reason why I stuck with it is because it reminded me so much of Medal of Honor. Call of Duty, the big red one, with this, like the way the map, the way the screen is like laid out and all with your map and your compass. And I was like, it's a bit of if I look at this as a bit of a nostalgia trip. The graphics are pretty similar to PS2 era. And then like I got through it all and I was like, do you know what, like it's very forgetful, but I enjoyed it. Went online, it was like 20%, 1 out of 5 stars. I was like, fuck, I misjudged that game for a bad. But yeah, I genuinely enjoyed that game, and I say it proudly. So question 4, that was quick. What is the best sidekick character you have ever played alongside in a video game? I genuinely am not sure about this one.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
I'm gonna have to say Daxter and Jak and Daxter.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, and I say it because like there's so many psychics. I suppose I'm thinking of like platformers. There's other psychics that aren't like like little furry things that accompany you. There's like secondary characters, whatever. But like you don't all that often get to see how far they would go for the main character.
Yeah.
But in Daxter's case, like there's 2 years where he's like living on the streets in this dystopian shithole, surviving on the streets in a city that the poor people in the city would probably try and cook him and eat him if they saw him, but he did it like he did the absolute best he could if it meant breaking Jack out of prison at the end of those 2 years, which is exactly what he does. And that's the prologue to the events of Jack 2. So like he was just kind of your friend from the village in the first one that got turned into the furry thing by falling into dark eco. It's like an evil like liquid that mutates you. So he was just kind of like comic relief more than anything. But this time you got to see like just how far he'd go like for his friend, and he even makes a big sacrifice towards the end of either Jack 2 or Jack 3. Like he doesn't kill himself or anything, but
I was like, fuck, I better play this.
He basically sacrifices the chance to become human again, to like have another big plot point happen, and he does it for the good of everyone. Like, so I think Daxter, for starting out as comic relief and turning into like someone who Jack couldn't get through the adventures that he did without. He's top notch psychic.
Do you have one?
No, I can't think of one at the moment.
I'm trying to think of one. I'm like far from Prince of Persia, kind of other people, but probably have to go along the same vein as you. Clank.
I was thinking of your man Quark, is it?
Captain Quark?
Yeah.
Captain
I
Quark.
wouldn't really be a sidekick though. I'm talking about, let's say, someone who's like with you along the way. Like I would say Clank, because like you're saying yourself, these two unlikely parties meet, they become great friends, and it just shows like the games have stood the test of time because of like no one could tell you the bollocks plot lines from Ratchet and Clank unless like big fans like yourself, but like they just remember like the good chemistry those two had, and he was really helpful as well. Like the missions where you're playing as Clank are actually good.
Yeah.
And the cool upgrades. The jetpack was the coolest thing ever when I was younger.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
It was
And
cool.
his little puppy things. What are they called?
The gadget bots.
Gadget bots. They were the cool. I hated when they died. I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
you
they're,
get attached to them.
they're so cute. Like,
But also, when Ratchet and Clank first meet, like they get along at first, but their missions kind of come into conflict in a while, and they actually do have like a fight later on, which I thought was really
fighting
cool.
everyone.
Like I thought that was really cool, rather than just have Clank be this like psychic that just says yeah, let's go, like to literally everything Ratchet says. Like they actually come to loggerheads, and then they make up and never fight again.
Yeah, like the cool thing is like Ratchet is the cool hero and all, but Clank can really hold his own. Like when his hands go massive while he's doing karate jumps. Like, and even the way Clank is made, when like there's huge robots being produced, and then like one little scutty one coming out like a little Lego minifigure.
Honourable mention to a Dom from Gears of War as well, though.
Dom. Never played it, but I regularly look up that scene just to hear Mad World play.
Yeah, so you have to play it in that case. I'm not going to give away anything, but like Dom is.
I know how.
Dom, yeah. So Dom is just a fantastic character. He's just loyal to the end and just has Marcus's back and everything. Just good, wholesome boy Dom, and he gets shit thrown at him that he doesn't deserve, and you can really see it affecting him. But he never becomes like jaded or bitter or anything. He still always like sees the best in people and helps Marcus to the end. So shout out to my boy Dom. Rest in peace, brother.
James, have you got one yet, please?
I don't have to have one. Sometimes you just don't have an answer.
You kind of do for a podcast.
No, you don't.
Tell us an honourable mention. Doesn't have to be your
Ellie
best.
from Last of Us, I guess.
That's a good show. That's a very good show.
Man, just put pressure on you.
Yeah, and look what we got a great answer. Well done.
Yeah, Ellie's fantastic. I beat the Left Behind DLC. My absolute favourite bit is when if you win the competition, the brick throwing thing against Riley, she goes, "Brick fucking master!" It's so fucking funny.
I think it's great as well that now you played as like Ellie for a little bit in The Last of Us, and now she's becoming the main character. You're kind of just like, I've been getting ready for this. Yeah. Joel, you're my bitch now.
Really looking forward to Last of Us Part 2.
So am I. You were only recently jumping on the fucking bandwagon.
yes, it's I didn't jump on it when it came out.
Year we've been waiting for this. Yeah.
Still on the wagon in Skyrim. At the start.
Oh, you're awake.
That's my favourite meme ever.
Yeah, but even years after the remastered version for PS4 came out, I only beat it there like the other day. So, yeah.
Did you like the ending?
I was a bit dubious about it. It kind of ended abruptly. Like it was a shocker, like what Joel did. And like Ellie clearly suspects something is up. But yeah, I don't know. I would have liked more closure or more hints at what was to come. But it kind of just went over.
I think they had the ambition to have the sequel out a lot sooner to kind of like appease fans. But with everything that went on, they just fuck, we'll wait for the next generation. I have a friend who played like all the way through The Last of Us. I told him like, you need to play this. So he went off, bought a PlayStation 4, got the remastered, played through it all. He said he was sprinting through it and all. He got to the hospital sequence, very, very, very near the end of the game. Finished that. Do you know that, I don't want to say just in case anyone who hasn't played The Last of Us, one of the games that I openly don't like to spoil, the part where they're, let's say, directly after that, when you're walking up the hill.
When you're doing the hike, is it? Or
at the very, very...
Yeah.
He turned off the game there and said, I'll finish the rest of it tomorrow. I'll play the next couple of hours then. And I was like, you fucking idiots! And for anyone who hasn't played it, when you get to the hospital sequence, keep going. Just trust us, keep going. Don't fucking stop the game after that. It's not worth it. Just keep going.
You won't have long left, just keep going.
No, just keep going. Just keep going. And so yeah, he turned it back on. He had about 10 minutes left. I was like, you fucking jackass. So yeah, we have Ellie, we have Clank, and we have some Daxter. That is a loyal party to the end.
I'd watch that crossover.
And dog meat from Fallout.
Dog meat.
Dog Me is a very, very good honourable mention.
Last one.
Bastard shows up everywhere. In Vegas. Where's the rest of them set?
Fucking Jesus Christ, Philadelphia? No, not Philadelphia. God, I can't remember where Fallout 4 is set. It's just not memorable.
Boston.
Boston, yeah.
Do you know what I'd really like to... We're done the questions now, so we'll just talk about ourselves. In Fallout 1, the Master, how cool would that look in a remaster? That big contraption, that'd look really, really cool.
It would look really sick and detailed, and I'd love that.
Yeah.
But there's something really like I don't know, like alien looking or foreboding or atmospheric about like the really old 90s like static backgrounds and stuff.
But imagine walking down like to a dungeon and you look and there's just like this grotesque like stretched out thing with like computers and all, and you're just like, the fuck?
Yeah.
And I convince him to kill himself.
Love that kind of stuff. I love like machine horror, body horror.
There's
the unholy fusion of like flesh and machine. Like Doom 3 has it, Warhammer has it. Like there's just something really alien and disgusting about it, and I just love it. It's fascinating.
I find it really disturbing because I'm just like, imagine the sheer pain they're in at this unnatural like movement and all. Like there's an old film that's terrible with Donald Sutherland called Virus, I think it is, where they go on this ship and the ship has been taken over by like this alien frequency and it's like converting people into robots. So like there's like ripping open their skulls and like putting like titanium shit in the way, and like Donald Sutherland gets converted openly, so he goes in willingly and says like, take me, and like he shows up like 20 minutes later and like he's been completely like ripped apart and there's like shit going into his, and he's still like conscious, he's still like aware of what's going on and all. I was like, that's so disturbing. Like one person, he just like literally has his head ripped off and just like put onto a robot body, and like they're really slow, so like I don't know how they're a threat, but like they have like makeshift weapons, like fucking chainsaws being thrown at you and stuff like that. But it was so unnerving to watch just because of that element.
I gotta watch this.
It's terrible.
It sounds great.
It's absolutely terrible. Like they're
making it sound better just by saying it's terrible.
The whole like thing of them is like, if the ship gets to land, the frequency, or I'm gonna call it the frequency, this alien force will reach more radio systems and spread and take over, so they can't let it reach the shore or get in range of signal, so they have to stop the ship and all. And Donald Sutherland, he's like one of the side characters. He's the original ship's captain, and he's like trying to be in charge and all, but they're all like, oh no, fuck you, you don't know anything and all. So he like openly joins them and he becomes like one of the big bads and all.
No battery.
That's okay. So anything else you want to say before we end the podcast?
No, that's about it.
No. So as we said in the last podcast, we do have some exciting updates coming soon. We just want to get those things wrapped up first. There's a lot more content coming your way. Please like us on Facebook at GameCast and subscribe to see more content coming soon. Alright guys, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Goodbye. Trivia questions. Okay. Question number 1. What did the towers in the PS2 menu screen represent?
The towers at the very start.
We have very limited battery space here.
What's in your memory card?
I always assumed it was the same.
Be specific.
It's the saves in your memory card, the blocks.
Number of games.
Yeah.
Alright, give that one to James. Question 2. How many Wii systems were sold in its lifespan? This figure was taken as of March 2016.
162 million.
200 mil.
Does anyone want to go again?
210 mil.
You're just being ridiculous.
Oh no.
Yeah.
140 million.
We'll give it to Darren. The answer is 101.63 million. That's amazing for a device that wasn't even that great.
It's all the old people playing Wii Fit. That's how they did it. They marketed. They managed to market it as like a family thing rather than just like a gamer
It
thing.
was a family thing if your family was actually into gaming. Anyway, so look, that's the trivia questions. Now we can sign off. Bye. Thanks for watching our video. Please like our page and subscribe to see more content from GameCast.